Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rabiat. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. So today I want to show you how to achieve this lovely bubu dress with front slit. If this is a style you want to learn, kindly stay with me to the end because you are going to really learn a lot. Okay, so stay with me. Let me put you through on how to achieve this lovely bubu gown with a middle slit. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get right into the video. So for the materials I'm going to be using for this tutorial, I have a stay, a white stay there. Then I have about 2.5 yards of Ankara fabric here because I'm going to be making use of, I'm going to be making it a short gown. Then I have a half yard of Duchess fabric. This yellow fabric is Duchess. So I have half yard here, which is going to be enough for me. Then I also have, so I, for the fold, I'm going to be folding this. Okay, so we are going to get right into the video. So for the fold, I'm going to be folding the yellow fabric. So let's get right into the video. So I've already folded my fabric into 4, as you can see. So I'm going to be using it for both the front and the back. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to measure about 4 inches, sorry, for the neck width, and then for the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. Then for the front, I'm going to be coming down by 8 inches. Okay, that is going to be the front length. Then for from the nape of my neck, the middle part of my neck to my shoulder measurement is 8 inches. Okay, and then the length of the sleeve that I want to use is about 13 inches. So I'm going to be marking that right there. Okay, so that is going to be the length of my sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is from the midpoint to where I want my sleeve to be is 19.5 inches. Then I'm going to come down from there by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then I'll use my ruler to connect it from the neck. So I'm going to connect that line right there. Okay, so after doing that, from that slope I'm going to measure. So I'm going to place my tape measure and measure from my shoulder down to my bust line, which is 11 inches. Then from my shoulder to my waist is 17 inches, and then to the hips is about 24 inches. Then to my full length is about 45 inches, which is what I just measured there. So I'm going to rule all the lines right now. So after ruling all my lines down to the down part, the next thing I'm going to be doing right here. So the next thing I'm going to do after ruling my line is to come down from that slope, come down by about 11 inches. Okay, so come down by about 11 inches from there. So that is going to be for my sleeve opening. Okay, so after coming down by about 11 inches, on that line, on that marked line where I came down by 11 inches, I'm going to impute my bust measurement there divided by 4. Okay, so the bust measurement I'm working with is 38 divided by 4 is about 9.5. I'm going to put it there. Then I'm going to add extra 4 inches, so 2 inches for ease, and then the remaining 2 inches for seam allowance. So I'm going to be adding extra 4 inches there. I'm going to do the same thing for the waistline. So for my waistline, my waist is 33 inches divided by 4 is about 8.25. Then I'm going to also add extra 4 inches there for my ease allowance. Then for the hip measurement is 40 inches divided by 4 is 10. Then I'm going to also add extra 4 inches there for ease allowance. So whatever I have on the hip measurement, I think I have about 14 inches there. I'm going to take it down to the full length measurement. So I'm going to measure it at the lower part of the gown. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect all my lines together. So I'm going to be connecting all the lines. So I'm using my free hand. If you have a curve, you can use it. If you have a curve, you can use it, but I'm actually using my free hand for that. So after doing that, blend all the lines together properly, and then so after blending all the lines, the next thing I'm going to do right here is to come over to the neck area. Okay, so for the back, I came down by 1 inch. Then for the front, remember I came down by 8 inches for the front. So I'm going to use my ruler right there to connect the line. So if you have a curve, you can also use it depending on what you want for the neck. I'm actually using kind of like a V neck. So if you want it to be very straight, you want your V to be very straight, then you can use a ruler for that. So after connecting that line, okay, so I'm trying to remeasure the neckline. So that's the perfect. So perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to cut off my lines. So after doing that, okay, so after cutting, so I'm already done with the back. Okay, so for the front, let's work on the front. So for the front, I'm going to be measuring 2 inches from that point where our neckline stopped. I'm going to measure 2 inches all through to the down part. So that 2 inches is going to serve as that is where we are going to be replacing with our duchess. Okay, I hope you understand. So that is where we are going to be placing our duchess. So I'm going to use my ruler now to connect all the lines all through to the down part. So after connecting all the lines, then I'm going to also connect that line and then blend it to the shoulder area, just the way you see me doing. So I'm going to just connect that line to that point. Okay, so we are done with the front. That point where our neckline stopped, you can notch that point, please. So notch that point where the neckline stopped. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out the front, only the front, please. So I'm going to cut out the front. Okay, so this is what we have for the front after cutting it. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing next after this is to join both the front and the back together. So this part is going to actually be replaced by the duchess. Okay, so I'm going to replace that point, that midpoint, with the duchess. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring the back piece, and then place it right side facing each other, just the way you see me doing. And then I'm going to join it at the shoulder area. Okay, so join it at the shoulder area for both points. But this fabric I'm using is actually very light, so I'm going to be adding a lining to mine. But if you are working with a fabric that is not too light, you can just join it together just like that. You don't need to add any lining, but I am going to be adding lining to mine. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so just as I said earlier, you can see I've already added a lining piece to both the front and the back. Okay, so I joined the both of them also at the shoulder area. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing right here, okay, is to connect that point where your neckline is going to stop. I told you to notch that point. Then you are going to join it together so that you can get the midpoint for the back. So I'm trying to achieve the midpoint for the back right here. So I've been able to achieve that. Then I'm going to notch that point. So that's going to be the midpoint for the back neck. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to pick up my tape rule, and then I'm going to take measurement from that point at the back. So I'm going to be taking from that midpoint. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to take that measurement all through to the down. I want to know what we have there. So I'm going to place my tape from one side of the midpoint, because that's the midpoint of your back. So measure it all through to the down part. So when I measured mine, I have about 50 inches at the lower point there. So I have 50 inches there. So I'm going to do the same for the other side, because ideally they are supposed to be the same. The two sides are supposed to be the same. So I'm going to also place my tape rule at the midpoint there, and also measure the other side. Just make sure they are the same thing, 50 inches. Okay, make sure they are the same thing. It's very important. So I did that for the other end, and I also got 50 inches at that point. Okay, so perfect. So perfect. As you can see, we also have 50 inches for the other point. So the next thing I'm going to do now is for my Duchess, for the length, we have 50, that's 100, right? So, and the length of our Duchess comes in 60 inches. So I'm going to measure 60 inches into two places. Okay, I hope you understand. We have 50 inches. What we need for one part is 50 inches, but I'm going to be adding extra inches to that in case. So I cut two stripes of Duchess, 50 inches, 60 inches each. I hope you understand. Then for the width of the Duchess, I actually measured 5 inches for the width. Okay, remember we took 2 inches at the midpoint of the front. Okay, so that 2 inches, why I measured 5 inches is here. Unfold is going to give me 2.5 inches. So the half an inch is for the joining allowance. I hope you understand. So the remaining 2 inches is the replacement of what you removed from the middle of the Ankara fabric. So I've already added an interfacing to the Duchess, and I also joined the two piece together. You can see the point where I joined it, and then I added an interfacing to that. Okay, so that part where I joined, that place is going to serve as the midpoint of our back neck. Is going to serve as the midpoint of our back neck. So from that point, I'm going to fold it like so. So after folding it up this way, fold it, make sure it's aligning, iron it so that you can have that mid crease line. Make sure the two parts are straight and they are well aligned. So the next thing I'm going to be doing after positioning it this way is I'm going to pick up my fabric now, and then from that midpoint of our neckline, so from that midpoint of our neckline, remember that midpoint of our back neck, measure it to where you want your your neck depth to stop, your front neck depth, where you want it to stop. So measure it. So when I measured mine, I have 12.5 inches. That is where I want the front neck to stop. Okay, so come over to the Duchess here, measure that 12.5 you have. All right, so from that point, from that midpoint of the back neck, I'm going to measure 12.5 inches. So from that 12.5, I will start sewing all through to the down part from that 12.5 inches. I hope you understand. So I will start sewing from that point where I measured 12.5 inches. So I'll start sewing all through to the down part. Okay. So I'll go and do that now, and then I'll come back and show you what we have. So this is what we have. As you can see, I from that 12.5, I actually sew it down. Okay, so this is what I have. I sew it all through to the down part. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to turn it over, just the way I'm doing. Okay, so turn it over this way, and then I'm going to give it a very good press. So as you can see the neck area. Okay, so I'm going to give it a very good press now. So make sure it's aligning properly. Make sure everything is aligning properly. Give it a very good press all through to the down part. The charcoal iron. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to, from that midpoint of the back neck, I am going to place the midpoint of the Duchess fabric just the way we have this way, and I'm going to place it, as you can see, that's the midpoint. So I'm going to match it up together, and then I'm going to secure it with a pin. Just watch what I'm doing. So I'm going to match this place, right sides facing each other, then I'm going to secure it with a pin. So I'm going to continue to attach one side of the Duchess to one side of the fabric too. So just watch the way I'm doing it. So you are going to attach it all through to the down part. That way I'll secure it with a pin. So I'll continue doing that till I get to the lower part of the fabric. So after doing that, so I've already secured that first part with a pin. I'm going to go over to my machine right now, and then I'm going to sew it all through to the down part. So I'll do that now, and then I'll come back and show you what we have. Okay, so let me go over to the machine right now, and then I'm going to sew on one side first before we go over to the other part and also do the same thing. So let me go over to the machine now, and then I will sew down and come back and show you. So right now I'm done with the first part. So can you see how neat it is? So that is the first part, and that is the wrong part of it. Okay, so this is the right side. So you can see we have attached the dotches to just one side of the front. I hope you can see. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to also repeat the same thing for the other side. Okay, so I'm going to secure the other side too with the pin, just the way I did for the first part. So I'll do that all through to the downside. So I hope you understand what we are doing right here. So I'll do that all through to the downside, and I'm also going to go over to the machine to also sew it all through. So I'll come back and show you.
So
So
guys,
after
this is
doing
what we
that, this is
have.
what we have.
So as you can
Okay,
see,
so
can you
as
see?
you can see how
So
neat it is.
after putting it down,
So you can see the
after matching
sides.
it, this is, can you see how
Okay,
neat it
so
is?
what I'm just going to
Okay.
do is that
So
I'm
this is
going
the
to,
upper
once
part,
there
this
is
is the
light,
neck.
I'm going to
Okay.
overlock all
And
the
then
raw
look at it. So
edges.
what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to
At that
overlock
point I will
the
overlock
whole raw edges
everything so
here
that it will be
all
come
round.
out very,
I
very
will
neat.
overlock
Okay,
it. Let me turn it to
so
the
let
right
me
side
show
so that
you
you can
the
see.
right side.
Can you see how
Let's
neat
see
it
how
is?
it looks. You can see
Okay.
how neat
So let me
it
quickly
is,
show
right?
you
You
something.
can see the front.
Look at the
So
down
the
part
next thing
here.
I'm going to be doing right here,
Okay, if you notice
I want
it,
to show you the
I did
down
not
part.
finish
So
it
look at the
up to
down
the
part.
end.
If you
I
look at
left
it
a
very
little
well, I didn't
space
finish it
at
up. I
this
left about
point here.
1 inch
So
at
this is
that
what I'm
point.
going to
Okay,
do.
so
I'm going to
this is how I'm
keep up
going
my
to
scissors
finish
right
up
here.
that part
Okay,
to get a very, very
and
neat
then
finishing
this
there.
is what we have.
So the next thing
So
I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to
do right
cut,
here is to cut
not
about,
exactly,
leaving
I'll
about
just cut maybe
0.75
leaving
inch,
like about half
okay,
an inch or
longer.
quarter inch.
So
I'm
you
just going to
you
leave it
leave the
this way.
dotches about
Then I'm going
0.75
to
inch
flip
longer.
it
Then
over
I'm going to be folding it up
to
this way.
this edge here,
Just watch what
this
I'm
way.
doing. So after folding it up this way, okay,
I'm going to
make
flip it
sure
over
it's
this way.
aligning, make sure the
Okay.
length,
Then I'll go over
everything
to the
is the
machine,
same thing.
turn it this
Then
way,
I'm going
and
to
then
open up
sew
the wrong
on this
side, then
point.
I'm going to
I
finish
hope
it
you
up
understand what I'm
at
saying. I'm
that
going to
point,
sew on
just
this
the way you
part,
see me doing. I'll finish it up
and I'm
on the
also going to
machine.
do the same thing
At
for
that
this
point
part. I'm
I'll do
going
the
to
same
sew
thing for
on
the
this part
other
so that this
side.
place
Okay,
will have a
so let
very
me do that, and then
neat work right
I
here.
will show you what we
Okay,
have.
so that is what I'm going
Okay,
to do. I hope you
so let me
understand what to
finish
do.
up that part,
I'm going
then
to
I'll
flip
come
it
back
over
and
this
show
way, and
you
then I
what
will
we
sew.
have right there.
I will turn it
Okay,
this way,
so
I'll
make sure you
sew,
finish
and
up
then I'll
at the
turn it
both
this way,
ends.
and also I'll sew the end. So I hope you
Okay,
can
so
see
after
what we
doing
have.
that,
So
this is
this is
what
what
we
we
have.
have.
You can
Look
see
at
how
it. You
neat
can
it is,
see how
right?
neat
You
it
can
is
see
at the right side.
the
So on
right
the wrong
side
side,
and
I just
then
want to show
the
you
wrong side.
something. So
So
on the wrong
that
side, you might
opening that we
have,
have,
so
okay,
let me
what I'm
show you
just going
from
to do over there
coming out
is
this
I'm
way.
going to
So
put
just
a
place
permanent
a
hemming
permanent
gum
hemming gum. You can
at
see it
that
looks like a
point.
net. Place it
So
inside,
insert
and then use your
permanent
iron.
hemming gum at that point, and then use your pressing iron to
Okay.
apply heat
So
there.
use
It's
your
going to
iron
stay there
right here,
permanently. It's not
and
going to
then
move.
you press on
So
it.
it's going to
So it's
come
going to
out
be
very,
there
very neat
permanently.
at that point. So after doing that, this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to join both the front and the back at the sides. Okay, so before we join the sides, let me measure. Let's attach the dotches to the sleeve there. So what I have there after measuring is 21 inches. Okay, so I'm going to cut out 21 inches length for the sleeve, and then the width is going to be about 5 inches. When you fold it up, it's going to be 2.5. So 5 inches, 0.5 inches is for the seam allowance, then the remaining dotches is going to be 2 inches. I hope you understand. So I'm going to measure 21 inches right there for the length. So my band height, just the way I told you, is going to be 2 inches on fold. So this one, what I'm cutting out here is 5 inches. When you put it on fold, it's going to be 2.5 inches. I hope you understand. So I'm going to give it a good press now. I'll use my pressing iron to press the both of them. You can also you can also add an interfacing if you want it to stand to be firm. You can decide to add an interfacing to that. So I'm going to join it together now. So I'm just going to attach the band this way, then I will sew, and then I'll fold it out this way. I hope you understand. So I'll do that now. Okay, so this is what we have. I've already attached the band. You can see how neat and beautiful it is. So for the last step now, what we are going to do is to join the sides. Okay, so I'm going to fold it to the wrong side, right sides facing each other right here, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to arrange the clothes properly, and then I'm going to be sewing at the edge of the fabric. Okay, so just make sure you arrange it properly and you take
So,
your
alright,
measurement. So
guys,
after
it's
joining the
fine,
sides, this is what we have. You
but you
can
can see
see
how neat.
how neat and
You can
beautiful
see,
it
sure you
is.
can see
Okay,
this part.
so
You can
thank
see
you
how
for
neatly
staying with me.
everything
If
came
you
out.
enjoyed
Okay,
this
so
video,
this is it.
please click the
So once
subscribe button and
I get
also
light, I'm going to give
like
it a
and share
very
our
very
video.
good press.
So I'm
Just
going
to
to be
press it
seeing you
all
in
night
my next
till the
video.
done
Please
part.
don't forget
So you can see,
to click on the
you
thumbs
can
up
see how
button.
neat it came out,
These
right?
are the little
So
ways you
here
can
is it.
help us to
This is the
grow. Thank
final
you
look
for
of the dress.
watching. See
Thank
you
you for
all
watching.
in
Kindly
my
click on the
next
subscribe
video.
button, and
God bless you.
thank you for
Bye.
always being with us. um I take my leave till I see you in my next